We're off and running. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. Chase Sr. here with you. And coming up, what a beautiful sight this is here to my right. Bright blue skies here in June. The Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, on the field for mandatory minicamp. So it's time to do minicamp winners and losers. Only one day of minicamp this year. And so that's why we're doing this segment right now as Jalen Hurts and the Birds back on the practice field. This will be the final time that the Eagles as a team collectively are at the NovaCare Complex practicing until training camp at the end of July. According to head coach Nick Sirianni, this is what you want to hear for a team which just accomplished something so special in February and winning the Super Bowl. It's that the Eagles have a perfect attendance. No excused absences. Every member of the Eagles' 90-man roster was at the facility for practice today. Sirianni is saying, quote, "I see the same humbleness and hunger that we saw last year." And I think that that's pretty special too, because going into 2024, the Eagles were coming off a year in which they completely collapsed at the end of the 2023 campaign. They lost 6 of their final 7 games. And then they rebounded from that after a 2-2 start. The sky was falling in Philadelphia, went on a tear, won the Super Bowl. They were dominant all throughout the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl, and now they have that same humbleness and hunger. Eagles looking to run it back. And so with that, I want to pop this up here to my right. Shout out producer Colin, crushing it as always. We call him the Tank here at Chat Sports. If you think the Eagles can win back-to-back Super Bowls, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If not, I want you to explain why down in the comment section right now. Let's start off on the winners front. Winner number 1, quarterback Jalen Hurts. Coming off a great Super Bowl performance in which he won Super Bowl MVP. I'd like to see him take another leap in his development as a passer in his own NFL career here in 2025. He's going to have his 6th offensive coordinator since he was drafted in 2020 in the 2nd round out of Oklahoma. But this offseason, this spring, he has been flawless. He has been efficient. And during the open practices, whether it's 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, the ball has barely hit the ground. On Tuesday, the lone day of mandatory minicamp, Hurts was 20 of 21. This spring, he completed 50 of 55 passes with no interceptions in 3 open practices. The throw of the day for Hurts, a long ball, a dime to wide receiver Devontae Smith, who hadn't been seen at Eagles OTAs. He was there today, rocking some pink cleats. He was moving fast in those cleats as well. Hurts had to deal with some protection issues today. There was no Cam Jurgens at center. Brett Toth really struggled. Jordan Mailata was having a difficult time with the likes of Jalyx Hunt and Jordan Davison. So Hurts was moved off of his spot on a couple of occasions. Still was nearly perfect today at minicamp. Winner number 2, wide receiver Danny Gray, a former 3rd-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers out of SMU. He was on the Eagles practice squad last year after he failed to make the Niners roster after they drafted him in the 2022 NFL Draft. And he has a sneaky possibility of making this Eagles roster. He has had a good spring so far. He ran a 4.3 40-yard dash coming out of SMU, a former JUCO guy. So he really had to earn his stripes in college football. And he was a really good college player. Had a huge game against TCU a few years ago in which he balled out. That really put him on some draft radars. It was a little bit of a reach for the Niners to take him in the 3rd round. But coming out of college, I liked him as a player. He has been a frequent target with the 2nd-string offense for Tanner McKee, and he's made the most of his opportunities. And you think about this Eagles receiving corps. This is a good tweet here from Brandon Lee Gouton. They don't have a true burner. You know, a couple of years ago, they had Quez Watkins. He was that guy who could get vertical. Devontae Smith has speed, and he's one of the top long ball wide receivers in the NFL. But I'm talking about a guy who is that special weapon as a lone vertical threat who can really run with blazing speed, that could potentially be Danny Gray, a 4-3 guy. So good on him for trying to get his NFL career back on track, as it didn't look good back around this time last year when he was with the Niners. Terrace Marshall is also a minicamp winner, and both Gray and Marshall have kind of outperformed the likes of Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson. We know who the top 3 wide receivers are going to be for this Eagles team: A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson. Wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, it's up for grabs. Marshall, like Gray, is another player who has an intriguing draft pedigree. He was taken in the 2nd round by the Carolina Panthers. He was on that 2019 LSU team that won the national championship. He was one of Joe Burrow's top targets on that team. He was an excellent player at LSU. He was okay for Carolina. He's had a couple of stops since then, but he's been impressing some people inside that Eagles building. Today, catching a touchdown from Jalen Hurts on a crosser where Cooper DeJean kind of got lost in coverage. Winner number 4, rookie 6th-round pick quarterback Kyle McCord. A fantastic practice today. And McCord was one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft class coming out of Syracuse. Big body, good size, can survey the field very well, processes at a very high level. Last year, he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football. He had 37 combined touchdowns, I believe. He played better with Syracuse than he did with Ohio State, which I thought was pretty telling because he was throwing to lesser wide receivers with that Syracuse program. They went from having an awful season to a tremendous season on the back of Kyle McCord. And he finally got his confidence together under head coach Fran Brown with Syracuse. And he doesn't move around well as far as athleticism and he plays with his feet, but he does have a good pocket feel, pocket mobility. And I think down the road, at the very least, he can become a very high-level quarterback. He threw a 15-yard dart of a touchdown to tight end Nick Muse. Tight window. It required a perfect throw. Kyle McCord executed that throw. I loved the selection at the time, and he's been outplaying Dorian Thompson-Robinson this spring, and I expect him to be QB3 on this Eagles 53-man roster once the roster cutdown day does transpire. Winner number 5, rookie Jihaad Campbell. We have not seen him on the practice field doing any drills throughout the spring. That changed today. Chase, I don't believe you. Here is evidence of Jihaad Campbell rocking the number 30 on the field, doing some drills as an off-ball linebacker for the Eagles. And if you take a screenshot and you zoom in, you see what Zach Bond talked about today. Long arms, long body, really good athlete, and when he gets on the field, you will love his playing style because he plays with reckless abandon like he's shot out of a cannon. He plays with swagger, toughness, physicality. I think Vic Fangio is very excited about how he can use him like Zach Bond as a blitzer from time to time, but also as a guy who can excel in coverage. A great sign that he was at least on the field with a helmet on for the first time, doing some drills. Not partaking in 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s, but this is an indication that he's coming along well, coming off that labrum injury. So much more to get to here on the show, but I do want to tell you about this fantastic deal thanks to our fine friends at Fanatics. Eagles Super Bowl shirts. The same shirts that the Eagles wore after they won the Super Bowl, they are on sale for 50% off. All you have to do is use our exclusive link, chatsports.com/SBShirt. That'll take you to Fanatics. Fanatics will know that Chase Senior, Eagles Now, and Chat Sports sent you. It's a Nike shirt. You can look like a Super Bowl champ, rep the Super Bowl champs, and this shirt right here is timeless. I also just looked before this show, all types of different sizes available. Get ready for the 2025 season. Get something that you can wear forever. Eagles Super Bowl 59 champion shirts on sale, 50% off. Chatsports.com/SBShirt. We have some more winners to get to because a lot of players performed well during mandatory minicamp today. And this list also includes Kelee Ringo. Nick Sirianni understands what is happening with that outside cornerback competition. Kelee Ringo, Adoree Jackson, Cooper DeJean, Eli Ricks, all getting snaps there. Today, though, Kelee Ringo made the most of his opportunities running with the first-string defense, had a couple of pass breakups. He has excellent size, over 6 feet, over 200 pounds, great speed. He ran a 4.3 coming out of Georgia, and he said it himself, Kelee Ringo did. Athleticism only takes you so far. He has it. We've seen it. Now it's time for Kelee Ringo to put it together, and him having a couple of pass breakups today, impressive showing as he looks to lock down that outside corner job to be a lockdown corner opposite of Quinyon Mitchell. But it's not going to be easy. Jalyx Hunt and Jordan Davis are two more winners because today they had a couple of would-be sacks of Jalen Hurts, of course, during mandatory minicamp and in training camp. You don't tackle the quarterback to the ground, and so these sacks are when a player gets to the QB. But Jalyx Hunt and Jordan Davis, they gave Jordan Mailata a very long day. And for Jalyx Hunt specifically, because he's lined up over Mailata a lot as an outside linebacker pass rusher, that's notable. Because Jordan Mailata last year was one of the highest graded and best overall offensive tackles in the game. He is a lockdown left tackle protecting the blind side of Jalen Hurts. For Jalyx Hunt to be able to perform and dominate against Mailata, that's something that should turn some heads at the Novacare complex, and that's exactly what happened today. And for Jordan Davis, all the talk has been he's in the best shape of his football career. He got obsessed with Peloton late last year. That's what allowed him to get into peak shape, which then led to him being one of the most dominant interior defensive linemen in the NFL playoffs last year. We have talked here on the show about how about the midway point of last year, something clicks for Jordan Davis. He started to play a lot better. And that's a big reason why the Eagles exercise his fifth-year option, so that he's under wraps and under contract for this year and 2026. The Eagles are clearly investing in him. The Eagles clearly see something in him, and his offseason is getting off to a good start. In good shape, and today a dominant practice during mandatory minicamp. Our last winner, Smael Mondon, who was drafted by the Eagles as an off-ball linebacker back in April, another Georgia Bulldog. With Zach Bond sitting out just because of general soreness, the two off-ball linebackers, the rookie out of Georgia, who a lot of evaluators think was one of the top coverage linebackers in this draft class, alongside Jihaad Campbell. Fittingly enough, they're both on the same team. And then Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Smael Mondon is a player who is a really good athlete. He's long. He played well at Georgia, but he had to deal with a lot of injuries. I think at the very least, right from the jump, Smael Mondon is going to be able to help on special teams. But given the lack of depth at off-ball linebacker, and with Bond out, Jihaad Campbell out, and Nakobe Dean already injured, Smael Mondon getting some first-team reps, that's a winner in my book. To our losers, Brett Toth. He had a dreadful practice today. He is a player who has versatility along the offensive line. He could play along the interior. He can play at offensive tackle. But he messed up multiple snaps today, and that impacted the offense's rhythm. And so what I expect to happen here with Brett Toth is he might get relegated to third string offensive line, with Drew Kendall, the rookie out of Boston College, moving up to second string behind Cam Jurgens. Jurgens not practicing today because he's still coming off that back injury. I wouldn't be too worried about that, because Philadelphia still signed him to that massive contract extension, making him one of the highest paid centers in the National Football League. But stock down for Brett Toth. If you were given reps there, you can't just fudge up a bunch of snaps, and that's exactly what happened with Brett Toth. Trevor Keegan, interestingly enough, who the Eagles drafted in the 5th round out of Michigan last year to play guard, was getting snaps at center. And here's photo evidence of that. Trevor Keegan didn't play center in college. And so maybe it's a win for him that the Eagles are giving him looks at center. Maybe that's an indictment on Brett Toth for failing there miserably on this Tuesday, June 10th, on the lone day of Eagles mandatory minicamp. What it kind of tells me is that the Eagles like other players better at the guard spots. They have Kenyon Green. They have Matt Pryor. They have Cam Williams. They have Miles Hinton. They have Darian Kennard. They have a bunch of players. Kendall Lamb can play a little bit along the interior. Holland Pierce can as well. Laken Vakalahi has moved to the interior. So do the Eagles like more players at the guard spots than Keegan, which is why he's getting some snaps at center. We'll continue to monitor that and remember that once training camp comes around. Minicamp loser number 4 is Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Right now, he's lining up as QB3. And when the quarterbacks go through their drills, it's Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and Kyle McCord. But Kyle McCord has been the better player throughout the spring, both during OTAs and during mandatory minicamp. Better size, better arm strength, just the better quarterback. I like DTR coming out of UCLA. I thought he was an interesting prospect as a dual threat guy. But Kyle McCord has been better so far throughout the spring. And when it comes down to it, I think McCord makes the 53 and DTR does not. Jalen Carter is loser number 4. He did not practice today. He was on the side doing some stretching, probably dealing with a little bit of an injury. Let's hope it's nothing serious, but when one of your marquee players and one of the top overall defensive players is not on the field for mandatory minicamp, yes, he was there, but he was not participating in practice. We're going to chalk him up as a loser. Not a loser because of his play, just a loser because he wasn't able to participate. Again, get your Eagles Super Bowl shirts 50% off at chatsports.com/SBShirt. And I'm going to leave you with this, Drop some names for me is what I meant to say. Your biggest Eagles minicamp winners and losers. Give me some names down in the comment section. Thanks as always for watching. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on the show.